over here.
Hey, Ma, what are you doing here? I thought you moved over to Zangermarsh.
I did. I'm just back for a group quest, but let me tell you, it is beautiful countryside in Zanger. When are you going to get yourself out of this desert?
I don't mind it much. Probably a couple levels or so.
Well, that's cool. Do you need any help?
Yeah, sure. Boss sent me on a mission to go into some cave or something. Want to join?
Let's do it.
To clean up my room, to do the laundry, and in the bathroom, that's all I really want is girls. 2 at a time I want girls.
Well, I was playing video games the other day, and I came across my old Tomb Raider game.
Oh, yes. That game was huge when I was leveling up. But that Lara Croft, I couldn't even play the game anymore. It just seemed to demean women.
Really? Well, you have to admit that Tomb Raider did mark a significant departure from traditional roles of women in video games at the time.
What do you mean?
Well, like women as the damsel in distress.
I hate that.
Right, or woman is just one option to play out of 20 character choices like Sonya Blade in Mortal Kombat.
I suppose. I do remember thinking, hey, it's a representation of me as a woman, as the hero. But you don't think she was just a little bit thumb candy for men?
Oh, maybe, but at least she was more of a character with a narrative past. Even than most of the male heroes, I think she was meant to appeal to women.
How so?
Think about it. Tomb Raider came out in the 90s. There was this huge cultural attitude of, let's beat men at their own game, kind of a girl power thing. Video game companies, up until that point, didn't even want to market to girls. They thought girls playing video games would threaten their male audience. But whether they liked it or not, Lara Croft not only sold a ton of video games, but really became a cultural icon. Everyone knew her, even non-gamers.
Didn't they make a movie based off her?
Well, it's funny you said that, because actually, Tomb Raider has a ton of cinematic elements. She reminds me of, like, a gun-toting action hero, like Thelma and Louise or Tank Girl.
Who's Tank Girl?
Oh, she's a comic book heroine, which preceded Laura.
But do you think the fact that she carried guns made her a feminist icon or subverted it?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, if you think about it, yes, she is this strong woman, but she can't do it herself. She has to carry a gun. And guns are very, penisy.
Phallic. Yeah, that's interesting. Some people say that men phallicize because they fear castration. But when women are very feminine, they're already castrated.
Laura was definitely not feminine.
I actually remember a male gamer telling me once that Lara Croft wasn't realistic because she could navigate around in caves, something women clearly couldn't do. Let's go turn in.
I guess Tomb Raider wasn't so bad. At least they didn't give her a love interest.
Ugh, for sure that would have killed the game.
You know what always bothered me about Tomb Raider?
What?
It seems so voyeuristic. There she is doing her thing, and we have this weird out-of-body way of watching her.
Interesting. So it's the third-person angle that bothers you.
Well, not always, but in that game it seems so peeping Tomish.
Why?
I think it's because she never looks at the camera. There's some male-centered sick pleasure in that. Just like the person never knows if they're being watched by some perv. They never look at the camera.
Yeah, that is kind of sadistic. Like, how powerful is she? But the viewer still controls her and watches her.
Right. The only thing I wonder is if she's supposed to be this fetish-sized woman, why does she have some butch features like being able to move around inside caves?
Well, I didn't want to say this before, but I guess I have to now. Some scholars say that navigating inside caves in video games is symbolic of navigating inside the female,
What? Ew!
So if that's true, Laura's doubly a sex symbol because she can navigate around her own caves.
Oh, gross. Let's get out of here. This is totally creeping me out.
You know what I wonder? Is Lara Croft really an object, or is she a subject?
Ah, because she was like a movie character?
Exactly. Because she becomes, like, transgendered or something, because she's both object and subject.
I don't know if I follow that. transgendered? Like a snail?
See, because Laura, the person who plays Laura is a male, representing himself as a female, but the female is represented with male images, like guns. And the fact that the female signifiers are greatly over-exaggerated, like boobs and butt and waistline, because it seems like the implosion and instability of her gender.
Oh, like asexual, like an amoeba.
Well, that's interesting too, because like you said earlier, she has no love interest. So maybe that means she has no sexual identity.
You know what I want to see? A site by men that's called How It Feels to Play as a Woman. Seriously. All the Croft sites I've ever seen are just sexual, like Nude Raider, where she would perform a striptease.
You know, I remember hearing that they had a website for women to set fire to those naked images of Lara Croft.
I read an article once about Laura that really pissed me off. This guy said that the whole game was really about teaching boys how to approach sexy, strong women.
Approach or manipulate and control.
Exactly. I mean, I guess it's kind of good because it shows kids how to play with gender construction and identity, but come on.
I think, though, it all comes down to how players of any gender react to avatars of any gender. Because eventually, you stop seeing your avatar and stop being a player and just become immersed in the world. See? Nothing.
And we can't forget that other layer of simulation. Even Lara Croft is really just some polygons thrown together to represent the female body.
I almost wonder, too, if some of the resexualization of her in those websites are a response to men actually feeling some empathetical, emotional connection to her.
Maybe you're right. You know what all this reminds me of? The movie Simone.
Oh, the digital movie star. Yeah, it's kind of similar.
For all I know, all movie stars could be simulations.
And that's true. We generally have no more connection to movie stars than we do to virtual characters like Lara Croft.
And we know just about as much about Laura, with the backstory of the game and everything. Maybe more.
You know what? If we were going to look at this ludically...
Whoa, Shakespeare. What the hell is ludically?
Some esoteric word for game-like.
What's esoteric?
Fancy.
Got it.
So if we were to look at this in terms of games, we actually get closer to Laura than we ever will a celebrity. Each person who plays the game gets a different experience. If you are a poor player, Laura will have to sigh and say no a lot when you're trying to get her to jump over things that she can't. And likewise, if you're a skilled player, you will face much less of an antagonistic Laura.
Yes, that was a lot of words you just said. / bored.
Fine, let's go kill something.
To do the dishes, to clean up my room, to do the laundry, and in the bathroom. That's all I really want is girls. 2 at a time I want girls. With new
Welcome to Zanger.
Wow, you were right.
girls, 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 girls.
Don't you think it's weird that men are so willing to have all these erotic fantasies about virtual women?
Yes, it seems to take all meaning away from femininity. Like all those symbols of femininity are essentially signifiers without reference. It seems to take all meaning out of being a female.
And that's postmodernism for you.
Women are just well-trained techno-puppets, created by and for the male gaze.
Ugh, that's depressing. I don't want to be a techno puppet. Wouldn't that be unfair to real women? I mean, virtual women are pieces of the most perfect body parts of the most perfect people. It is impossible to equal that, and puts real women gamers in the position to be constantly confronted with the positioning of femininity as aesthetic instead of agentic, where one could actually do something.
That does seem to take any pleasure away from playing, for women at least. Not only is the ideal body difficult to obtain, but now it is really impossible.
Yeah. Where are the girl characters that don't think like a girl? I'm abnormal. I want to play an abnormal woman. Why can't game companies make me into a character?
Yeah, no doubt. I wonder what we would look like if we were made into characters.
Well, I certainly wouldn't have this tail and these big hooves.
Oh, you're complaining. Look at me. I look like I'm a 13-year-old girl. Let's go get drunk at the inn.
Done and done.